Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chaos Culture Radio. This your boy Prince Hakeem.
And this is Ronnie Rob Mustang. Hey, Hakeem, what's going on, baby? How you
I'm
been?
maintaining. I feel blessed and I'm highly favored because I got a special guest here who
Who? Who's this?
we have DJ Slice, who
Oh,
who the Brother Society said was like a glue to a lot of the music that came out of here. And you know what I mean? And it's a full circle for me growing up here, me growing up to listening, pick it up, past the Buddha, you know what I mean, and a number of other songs that kind of like shaped my life. So I'm really happy to speak to you, brother. And
man, you tell me we got a legend. We got another legend on the podcast today. Oh
another
man.
legend. Listen. I don't care if they're
Oh,
not a legend to anybody else, but they're a legend to me in Miami. You feel what I'm saying?
All praises, man. All praises. All praises to the Most High.
Definitely,
yeah, amen,
definitely.
amen.
So DJ Slice, the way we like to work in here, we like to start from the beginning until the present.
Okay.
So
All right.
so where are you originally from?
Well, I was born in Philadelphia, raised in Delaware. Well, actually, in Chester first, and then we moved to Delaware around, what was that, 76,
Uh-huh.
something like that. And did all my schooling there up to, I want to say 89, 90. That's when I moved to Florida. I went to college down
Okay.
there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you came here for school.
Yeah, initially I was in the Serb military. I was in the Navy, so I came to Florida for that first, and then I was able to go home and then set up to go to school at University of Miami in a school called Career Institutes,
Oh wow.
which is on
Nice.
South Beach.
So what made you get into?
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, but I want to ask you what made you get into music.
Well, I got into music when I was a young boy. I was hip to the hip hop. 1977, dancing. I started out dancing first. And then
Okay.
and I went to a friend of mine's house. It was like in 79, 79, 80, but I think it was 79. And he had turntables. And he was jiggy, scratching and all that. And like, oh, he's doing the stuff that I saw in New York. You know, the guys scratching back and forth, and the girls was going crazy. And we got on the floor getting the girls. Man, the girls doing that flash. I'm like, I don't do either. See getting the girls. So around 79, 80s, when I started messing around, I didn't take it serious the DJ side until like 84, 84, 85.
Okay, perfect. Now my next question might be a little bit so now so how did you transition into so who did you meet first? Sonny or Luke?
I met Sonny first.
You met Sonny, okay.
Yeah, I met Sonny first. I was introduced to Sonny through Verb. Now, if you don't know who Verb is, you know who Verb is, right?
Oh yeah, one he definitely know Ver. He has he has a legendary verse on Scarred.
Right, right. So I was working with a guy named MK Black at a studio down Biscayne Boulevard. And he was like, listen, there's this dude up in North Miami. He has a studio and he's this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. This was after Hurricane Miami.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, so all of us was going through that. So he's like, look, man, you need Sonny, blah, blah. So he took me up there, man. And Sonny like, what you got? So I pulled out beats. And I went this, I pulled out beats, started playing beats. He was like, okay, yeah, cool, press, whatever. So we was kind of talking, going back and forth. And then my lease for this kind of like a homeless shelter. I was homeless at this. I wouldn't say homeless, but this guy was renting out rooms in this bank space. It used to be a bank right by the studios, but they got messed up due to the hurricane. Well, he was letting me rent a small room out of the room space out of there. And he was like, listen, your thing's gonna have to be up. I got to sell the space. You're gonna have to leave. So I called Sonny, like, listen, I'm gonna have to leave this place. He said, listen, go home, go to Delaware, go celebrate Christmas with your mom, and then come back and you'll have a place to go. Well, when I came back, it was his house.
Oh wow. Okay.
You understand Sonny's house. So and actually Sonny paid for my flight to go to Philadelphia.
Wow, that's
Do
what's
you
up.
do you kind of remember the feeling that you felt when you met Sonny? Like, how did it feel at that moment? Because some
He
people might not have that opportunity. Go ahead.
well, I didn't know who he was
Mm-hmm.
on that level yet.
Yep.
Once I got to his house and we sat down and started talking, and he was telling me about, yeah, well, he said something about pick it up. I'm like, okay, yeah, I've heard that record because me and my boys, Dwayne and the dude's name, Natives of the Jungle, Dwayne and O'Neal. We used to bump that record all the time. He's like, well, yeah,
Mm.
we made that record here. What? He's like, yeah, that record was made right here. And he showed me the test press, the pictures with him and them on it, and I'm like, oh wow. And he's like, yeah, we've been on tour. We're on tour. We're doing touring and all that. Like, oh snap, okay. And that took me to another level. Like, okay, this dude's and he's connected.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, so I kind of like, okay, let me hang out with him. Because before that, you get with folks that they saying they doing something and then it's all talk.
Facts.
The
Yeah,
fact.
That's real.
he
You
wasn't
telling the
that.
truth.
Yeah, he wasn't
Yeah,
that.
you're telling the truth.
Now,
Yeah,
now,
he wasn't that.
now, let me ask you. Sonny was behind home team, but I've always wondered,
Absolutely.
like, were they signed to him directly, or it was just in a conjunction with Luke?
At first they were signed to him directly.
Mm.
Right. So what happened? The story is they were originally Dev and Drugsy were signed to Luke with Poison Clan.
I remember that. Yeah. Yep. They was
They
on
were
the.
Poison Clan.
Yep.
So something happened in the studio when they went to do the second album. Legend has it that Dev went up in the studio and tore up the tapes or something. I don't know. You have to ask Dev on that because I wasn't there. I just hear the stories. And they walked out. They was done with Luke Records. And then Sonny put them on and said, "Listen, I'll finance the project." When they went in the studio, recorded the Saturn album, and put it out. And they started getting little dates or whatever have you. And then Luke got upset with that because they were making money or doing things without him. So he filed an injunction and told
Wow.
all the
Wow.
stores that if
Wow.
you
Incredible.
sell this record, then I won't give you no more of my product. So that put a cock block on what Sonny and them were doing with regards to Pick It Up. And then
Wow.
they eventually worked out a deal where Luke gave them an advance on the album, and they bought the rights to the masters, whatever have you. And then they went out, it got repressed up under Luke Records, but initially it was under Stomping Grind Records.
Okay. Wow, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
Now,
So I want
go
to
ahead.
ask you. So if we have an up and coming artist, what is his best route? Because it seems like the music industry has a lot of shadiness going on.
I personally would go independent. You basically just got to do the work. Listen, if Suki Hana, who didn't have no promotion, no nobody,
Yep.
could get could get you know like she is, anybody can.
You're a
And if you
hundred.
and especially if you got some skills, it's just a matter of you having some marketing skills. If you know somebody that has marketing skills, you pay them. If you know somebody that does graphics, you pay them. You know somebody that does individual things that a record label would do, you pay them or you barter with them, and you get the work done. That's it.
No, definitely. Now, Slice, let me ask you a question. So, what other records did you produce, like within that time?
Well, the first record I actually appeared on in Miami was a record called "Put Your Body in Motion" by Mikey D. Now, Mikey D was with Jonathan Black. Mikey D is the same guy that ended up with Main Source out of New York.
Yes.
Okay, so Mikey D was living there for 2 years. So he was part of the hip hop scene there. And I linked up with him around the end of 1990. No, not the end. Around September 1990.
Hmm.
And then me and him became a crew. And so that was the first record I actually appeared on. The records that I did, let's see, two live crews, that 1993 album, the Back at Your Ass for 1993-94.
Oh, you produced
That
that?
album, I produced 6 songs off of that.
Wow.
You Go Girl
Awesome.
was the lead single. You Go Girl.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I did that. I did Luke's solo album, the album that came in right behind the Two Dot Crew album, and
Yep.
actually, the one song, Cool. The song was called Cool. I wrote the rap verse for Luke.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Boy, he
Luke's
giving out gems, boy.
yeah Luke's rapping on the song. I wrote his rap verse because originally Luke was just gonna talk and he's like, "Nah, I want to rap on it." I'm like, "Can you rap? I mean, you can go in there and say." He's like, "No, you write the rap. I know you rap." I'm like, because did some raps on the Society EP
Yep.
that
Yep.
that did not make the EP, but they were on there.
Yeah. Society told me y'all did that project in 7 days.
Yeah,
Nah, it was a little longer than that.
It was a little.
a little
Okay.
longer than
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it was a little longer than that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But it's just amazing to see that. How can you see that? That is amazing to see how behind the scenes how they get work done. You know what I mean?
No, definitely, and this is why you have to speak to every individual to see how these masterpieces were put together. But
Yeah.
I want you to finish and go and get to the other joints that you produced.
Okay, so the Two Live Crew album, obviously the Back of Jazz album, the Luke album itself.
Uh huh.
Oh my goodness, the Malignant Graffiti. That's just so many records now. I can't
Oh,
even.
yep.
The
Which is a
Malignant Graffiti.
classic.
And that album,
Yeah.
I produced one side, Professor Grip produced the other side.
Professor Griffiths, he produced.
Oh yeah, Professor Grip made beats, absolutely. Yeah, he made
See,
most of the beats on his stuff.
you see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
yeah. I remember going to Atlanta during Freaknik. This was '94, and me and Society stayed at Griff's house.
Wow.
Sign Griff went out. Griff had all these records.
Man.
He had a ton of records laying on the floor from one wall to the other. Man, don't you know? I went through his records. I was recording stuff. I was recording, had my little
Wow,
tape,
man.
and I'm recording samples off of his records.
That's crazy. I didn't even know he was a producer like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Griff makes beats. He may not
Mm.
tell folks that on a whole level, but yeah, he makes beats. He's very capable. Yeah, matter of fact, take a look at the credits on the Malignant Graffiti album.
I'm gonna definitely look at that because
Yeah.
I know certain places online they have the picture. Now here's an interesting question: why that album never came out, and why Deb and Drugsy never put out a second album? Now that was a mystery growing up as a kid because I've heard rumors that they went to jail. It was some other stuff. No, for real. This is
Yeah, no. Because you're yeah, yeah. It is what I can say. Yeah.
okay, because this was like a folklore that we used to talk about. It was like, man, them dudes was like, because they had an ill rhyme style at that time, and then
Mm-hmm.
once that, first and foremost, when they was on Poisonous Mentality, I thought Deb and JT Money made a great combination. Like that whole group was like that album was to me is actually one of their best projects. First and foremost.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So when they got into Home Team, it really just was able to encapsulate their whole style, their whole rhyming style that I've never heard before. I've listened to a bunch of rappers in New York. Them two brothers, because I don't think a lot of people know they're brothers.
Oh
They,
yeah, absolutely.
you know what I mean? Their rhyming scheme was so different, but it was just like I wonder why they never was able to took it to a whole nother level.
Well, it's rather than me speaking
Yeah.
on a bunch of stuff, you'd probably be better off connecting with them and then having them explain it. But some stuff did go down,
Okay.
unfortunately,
Okay.
and that didn't allow for them to do what they equal what the first album did. The second album, I think, would have done just as well, if not better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I will say that Deb was a different person after the incident at 163rd Street Mall. She became a
Oh.
different person after that. So I mean, I'm pretty sure you heard the rumors about that incident.
Yes, I did. Yes, I
Okay,
did.
so
Yeah,
yeah, something did happen.
yeah.
I'm not going to go into it. Like I said, it's better off to talking to them about it rather
Mm.
than what I'm saying. So, but in essence, he became a different person. So the album became different. Actually there were more. We recorded more songs in that. We recorded more songs that didn't even get put onto the tape.
Mm. Cause
You know,
you are
go ahead.
definitely right about that. Cause you know, what I mean, in the Malignant Graffiti, there was a lot of aggression in a lot of his raps he was spitting.
Yeah, he was very angry about some stuff that was going down around him. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate because they could have really made a huge mark. I mean, they made a mark on Miami, but I'm
What
talking about
hands
on
down?
that level, hands down. They could have easily made a mark on that level. You
That,
there?
that yeah. That's
Okay.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Hmm.
they were definitely some gifted dudes on the microphone, but again, some circumstances didn't allow it to go to that next level.
Now, with that being said, did that cause and from there on, did that stop you, or because I know you from I think after them you worked with Society, yeah?
No, I was working. I was actually working with them before I started working with Society.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I was actually working with GDG, them, and I was finishing. We were finishing up Two Lives album. I was working on quite a few projects.
mm.
Plus, and we're not even talking about Sonny's roster, the roster he had in his studio. So I was either in the studio or on the road on tour.
Wow. And what roster that did Sonny got? Because I know they put out. I don't know if they put out a documentary about him.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know. But they had a group called Chain Gang,
Hmm.
which was an offshoot of Poison Clan. Gooch and Rev. They were partners with JT and Drumsy and Dead.
Okay,
They all lived in the same, pretty much in the same area. All went to high school together.
okay.
So it was them. There's another group called Natives of the Jungle, who Uncle Al loved. Uncle Al used to play a song called Me and Jane that I produced. He
Mm.
played that back to back to back to back. He would play that dang on there all day. That was his favorite record. Was Me and Jane. And let me see, it was Buddha and Reese. I forget the name of their group at that time, but it was those three. This other guy named Quancho. That's four. And Taz was primarily producing him from those Funky Bastards. He was producing him,
Oh,
and then I had a solo project that I was doing. So
okay.
that's five. So that right there was the roster, and then we had some others that were coming in, splintering, doing stuff here and there, and then ultimately Sonny did an album with, well, not an album, but an EP with Sonny, Quancho, and Buddha, and
Mm.
I have a copy of that.
Wow.
Yeah, where Sonny's rapping on it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
We did that at Studio Zone.
Because I also want to ask him what made you transition to Society. What made you want to work with him?
Okay, in November, I think it was November of '93, sometime around there, I got to the office and Cy was there, but I didn't know him. And he was just, well, one of the guys that was around the office, and we introduced each other. He introduced himself, I introduced myself, like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Blah blah blah. And he was telling me he was doing graphics. He said he raps a little bit. I'm like, okay, cool. So fast forward, I think it was around February of '94. He came to the house and asked me about doing beats for a project that he was thinking about working on. So I had some ideas. At the time, I was still living in Sonny's house.
Yes.
So I had some ideas, and we tracked one song. I forget the name of it. It wasn't Yes Indeed, because I didn't make Yes Indeed at Sonny's house. I actually made that at the house that me and Society were living in.
Mm-hmm.
But we were kind of dibby dabbing with ideas, right? And then around that was the conference, the music conference. Oh my goodness.
How
It
can
was
I
at
be down?
no, this is at Studio 183.
Oh,
It was a
okay.
conference there. And Betty Wright was there, K7 performed, Tribe Called Quest, Angela Winbush, and all these groups got there and people got there and they did their performances and whatnot. Me, Luke, Society, and Luke's bodyguard, I forget the man's name, Ron.
Mm-hmm.
He was there, and Michael and Mike, all of our manager at the time was there, Mike. So Luke was looking at him. He said, "Both sides. Why don't you don't want to do no record or nothing like that?" And so I was like, "Oh man, I don't know about all that, man. I'm chilling. He said, "Well, look, you got a brother right here. Look, he make hip hop beats. Why don't y'all get together and do something?" Me and Sal looked at each other and was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we'll go in the studio." And we knew it. We looked around, and I was moving from Sonny's house to Sai's house
Mm.
because it was going to be easier for me to work with Sai.
Yeah.
We were together as opposed to me sitting at Sonny's doing all that stuff and then going on tour and all that.
Yeah.
So that was the reason why I moved out of Sonny's house into Sai's house. Otherwise, I'd stayed at Sonny's.
Mm.
So a lot of magic happened at Sunny House. If you could say
Yeah. Oh
that.
yeah. And even with Yes Indeed, that was an experiment. And,
Mm.
and I'm gonna give you a basket. Okay, so when I made that beat, the
Mm.
first person that heard that beat was Verb.
Wow.
He was the first person I let hear that beat. And Verb was like, nah, I don't know about that, man. That's different. That's something else. I'm like, listen, it could be hot. Like, nah, okay, all right. So go back in the house, and it sits for a couple of days, and then one day I'm playing it because I'm tweaking it a little bit, adding some stuff to it. And Cy walked in, it's like, yo, what's that? I said, something I was messing around with. I said, can you put that on tape? Sure. I put it on tape. He took it and went in his room, and he started writing to it or whatever have you. Then I went out on tour. I went out for a couple of days for 2 Live. When I came back, Cy was like, listen, can we go in the studio and record this, and this? Because I gave him a couple of other beats. So I was like, okay, yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So we go in the studio and we record those things, and I went out on tour again. When I came back, the lyrics were recorded, but they weren't mixed. There was no arrangement like that. I had to go in and do the arrangement stuff. The production in.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Not just making the beat now. Now I gotta arrange the song around it. Arrange the songs around it.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
No, because I was gonna say, arguably, that's the biggest hip hop song in Miami.
I've heard that too, and I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate that. I know you're gonna get arguments from different folks.
A lot of people.
But I appreciate it either way.
No, definitely. And even with Society, I told him, I said, hey, I'm a listener. And I told him this, I said, I said, technically it was kind of like the first Miami hip hop artist with that joint, because that was all over every mixtape you could think of, the Booty Essentials and all that. And people was like, yo, how did a record like this get on a bass mixtape? You feel me?
Yeah. I know. It's funny because the thing that I wanted to make a record that appealed to a bunch of different people, but had a different sound to it.
Mm.
So one, the bass was going to give you Miami. The 808's going to give you Miami, right? The drums is going to give you New York.
Yep.
The strings was going to give you a classical sound. So, and which was a sound at that time nobody was doing that. So I was trying to do something that nobody else was doing. And again, like I told you earlier, this was an experimental beat.
Wow.
I was shocked that he was like, yo, I write to that. I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, put it on tape, gave it to him, and he went in the room and wherever he was going, whatever meetings he was going to, where I was doing what I was doing, and hey,
did you in your mind did you know that track was gonna be successful like it did?
Not when I first made it, but what gave me the idea that it could be
Hmm.
was two things. No, three. I'll give you three. One night, me and Sai were at the house. This was in, I want to say May, because I think we had came back from Chicago. Because Sai went up to Chicago with us and whatnot. So we got back to the house, and there were a few of our mutual friends that came over. You know, they came to see me, but they came to see Sai primarily, talk business or whatever happened. So they was like, "Yo, you got that beat?" I'm like, "What beat?" He said, "Yes, the beat for yesterday." Yeah, because I had the drum machines sitting on dresser tables in my little room. Can you put that on and play it? Sure. I put the disc in, played it off the MPC 60. I played it once. Can you play it again? Play it again. Can you just make it so it don't stop playing? That beat played over an hour. They would not let me turn it off.
Mm.
And that let me know, okay, yeah, this one, I think I got something here. They literally would not let me turn the instrumental off. This was without size vocals on it. This was just the beat by itself, unmixed, off the drum machine.
Yeah, that beat alone is just it's infectious, man. It's
Right?
infectious.
And then I got two more. The other one was when we were in Luke's van. I don't know if you remember, but Luke had the Luke Records van back
I
then.
remember that the
Yeah,
iconic one.
I remember that. Yeah, I
Right.
remember that. Yeah.
Right. So he used to test out his records in that van. That was one place he used to test them out. Was in that van. Test out mixes. Well, we rolled around the city in the van playing that record and watching the folks' reactions when we would ride past them. When we pulled up into, we get the reaction, the folks like, oh snap, what is that? And you see folks actually stop what they doing and they nodding their head. Like, oh, okay, all right, okay. So when we get back to Luke Records, I see Verb. Now, mind you, me and Verb are touring together, but this is the first time that Verb heard this record mixed. So he comes to me and he says, yo, what is that? I said, that's the record that you said that you didn't want. He said, no, it's not. I said, that's the same record, Verb. And he looked at me like, why I sound like I'm like, because it's mixed, Verb. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, oh, that's messed up. I'm like, B, that was your beat.
Wow.
The side wasn't even supposed to get that beat. That was Verb's beat.
Mm.
So then the last one, we came off tour. We had did some shows or whatever, and Luke had, I guess, just pressed it up, and we were doing the promo end of it, the promo end of the tour. So we get off the bus and we going into Pac Jam. But what we did, we went to the warehouse first, and the DJ, I forget the DJ's name. Sorry but I forget his name right now. Mm-hmm. But he was one of Luke's main DJs. He put that record, that came on. The crowd was like, oh! And we in the warehouse like, are they screaming for that record? Yo, they not screaming for that record. Stop playing. Man, we went in, me and him and Luke walked into Pac Jam. Man, they seen us.
Trying to tell you, my
I ain't never had folks rush me before like that.
Mm.
Like, yo, that was hot. Blah, 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 blah. All these people, and you see them just losing their minds as this record's playing. Excuse me, and this boy's rhyming and all. I'm like, wow. Oh yeah, we got a hit. We got to capitalize on this.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the three stories in particular I can give you that let me know, okay, that record's gonna mean something.
Now, mind you, so in your perspective, because I asked him that, and I want to ask you that, why wasn't there no second album? Or like,
well, okay. I know there were some issues with Loop Records.
Yeah.
Because I know I was in the midst of preparing a lawsuit in regards to mechanical royalties and stuff like that. Um, he was fighting for a contract, but there were actually beats done for that record. And truth be told, I'm gonna be honest with you. Truth be told, we could have gone to a label, another label in Miami, and gotten a deal to do that record because we remember, yes, indeed, it's still fresh.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And
It's still fresh, and all the Miami radio stations were playing that record back to back. It wasn't
it,
like they were playing it once a day. No, that record was getting played like
back to back. It still get
you couldn't
played.
go. Yeah, you couldn't go nowhere without hearing that record.
Yeah.
You couldn't, and I couldn't. I don't care if you was in West Palm Beach, down to Key Biscayne, if you was in Orlando, if you was in Tampa, care you was hearing that record. So quite a few labels out there would have taken that record, but there was some. Unfortunately, there was a rift between myself and him,
Okay.
which stopped that from really going where it should have gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's over with now, but back then there was a rift.
I honestly thought like the project y'all made was so beautiful. I could have. It would have been like a. I would have felt like you know how you have RZA and the Wu Tang, and you know what I'm saying, and you know how when the Wu Tang members try to go get different beats, things sound a little bit different. But I always thought y'all meshed so well together that I would have loved to hear another project at that time in that moment too.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I wanted to do a second project. Heck, we should. In my mind, this is just me speaking to you frankly.
Yeah.
Me and him could have been what Gangstar was in New York,
Facts.
or could have been what Pete Rock and CL Smooth were. That's what we could have been, and really should have been. You know what I'm saying? There were he was out of all the MCs that I had dealt with, he was one of the few that dealt with concepts. Most
Yeah.
folks would just rap, hit you with some 16s and be like, okay, that's it. Whereas he was like, listen, I have an idea from a conceptual standpoint and a mental standpoint. So he would come with those ideas, and we would go, okay, all right, let's incorporate these things rather than just, okay, you're just gonna get in there and spit, and I'm just gonna mix the song, and that's gonna be it. No, it's different.
So when he transitioned, why didn't you transition with him to Slip and Slide?
I was doing outside projects beyond it. Like I had got a deal to do Mother Superior's project, which I ended up on.
You worked
her
on Mother
album.
Superior?
Yes, she was on Island, and that money that Island was paying. Yeah. So I did one of her songs. I did Uncle Al's album with Joy Boy, which he paid me a lot of money to do his. So I was doing projects while Cy was battling Luke for the things he was supposed to be getting.
And Joseph Weinberg.
Yeah. Kleinberg.
Yeah.
The Jewish guy. Yeah. So there was a lot of people fighting to get what was supposed to be rightfully theirs from him. And unfortunately, me and Cy were two of those people. And so Cy went in whatever the direction he went in. Mind you, I told you, me and him had a rift, so we didn't speak for a while. I think it was about 3, almost 4 years before we spoke again.
Yeah.
So while he was doing his thing, I was doing mine. I was doing Uncle Al, like I said. I did Momsy. I did this kid named Hayes. His
Black
project.
Hayes?
Not Black Hayes. It was Hispanic kid from doing underground.
Oh, okay.
And his record kind of flipped all over the place too. Of course, not like Yes Indeed, but all the underground stations were playing. There's a record called Dice of Life.
I got to check that out. Because I think I might know what you're talking about.
Yeah, He's a white Cuban. I think he's from Cuba. White Cuban.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then I was working on this young lady. Her name was Solitaire. Now Solitaire and Mother Superior were in the same crew, in the same link with those funky bastards. The whole clique of them that rhymed together. They started out as Asia Tribe and then became those funky bastards. And then Momsy, Solitaire, Richie Wonders, a whole bunch of Born Master, a whole bunch of them that got together with a quote unquote New York sound down there in Miami. Doing their thing. So I was linked up with Solitaire. Did her project? She was on Sony. Unfortunately, that record never came out. But we did that project in New York, and we was promoting that, doing the hood stocks and all that. And then I got into the DMC competition again. So I started doing that, and then doing production on the side, and engineering on the side. To get my money.
Wow.
But what as far as the whole Slip and Slide connection, we actually did come together. We linked up because Society wanted me to produce Trick. So he came and picked me up when I was living in Coral Gables, and we went to what was that? We went to Slip and Slide, the studio where it was inside of a house. The first studio they had was inside of a house.
Okay.
And it was a nice, really nice studio. And that's where I met Trick. So we goes in there and we're talking and we're trying to discuss business. And what it boiled down to is we couldn't come out with an agreement that was going to work best for all parties, so we just decided not to do anything.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, I would have been on Trick's project too. And truth be told, he wanted a song similar to S&D. He wanted a beat similar to S&D. Which style was trying to sell him on. Like, look, you could do this. And I think what probably would have ended up happening was Cy would have probably hopped on that record with him to solidify it, except it would have been done in Trick style.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Very Southern with the swang on it.
Right, and then Cy would have just did the up north thing too and brought the two together. And it probably could have worked.
No, definitely.
Considering where Trick was, it could have worked. And I just found a few years ago that Rick Ross and Recognize did a freestyle over Yes Indeed.
They did. I think was it DJ EFN dropped that? I'm not sure. Yeah. I gotta check. Yeah, they redid that. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you ever go into the comments of the song of Yes Indeed and hear what the people are saying? There was somebody. Yeah. Go ahead.
I said yes, I do indeed. Indeed, I usually respond to them when I pull up a video of such and they have Yes Indeed in it, and else folks are saying I'll respond.
There was one person who was like, "Yo, I heard this in '92 and I was in Paris." You know what I mean? No, for real. There's number of, because I read the comments too. Because I'm talking about I'm gonna be honest with you, Slice, man. That song was the reason why I started rapping.
Okay, that's what's up.
You know what I'm trying to say? Inspiration. And you know what I'm saying? And mind you, the funny thing is, the ironic thing about it is, I didn't know none of y'all. So I'm thinking like y'all from Miami. I'm like, man, this is the first hip hop dudes from Miami. Come to find out that you guys are from up north, and it's just fascinating to me that, which I think a lot of people need to understand, that it's not where you from, it's where you at. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because you from Philly, Society's from
like Long Island.
Long Island and stuff like that. Debs and them are from the Bronx. They all came down here, and they, you know what I'm saying, and they affected us in a certain kind of way. So that it's just a fascinating situation from that. So
and it's funny that you're saying that. Actually, Dev and Drugs are both from Flatbush. They're from Brooklyn. Yeah, they're from Brooklyn. I know folks are saying they're from the Bronx, but no, they're actually from Brooklyn, from Flatbush. East New York is where they call it.
Okay.
Which is where Jay Damager talks about East New York style.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, but the group I was telling you about, those funky bastards, a lot of them are either from the islands or from New York. So basically, a lot of cats from New York or from Philly, well, in my case from Philly, came down and just introduced the sound that was that to the bass sound. And what I did was just incorporated the bass sound with my sound already. So it just enhanced it. Rather than me trying to buck the bass, I'm like, I can't do that. That if I did that, then how would You Go Girl come out?
You're right. You're right.
You see what I'm saying?
Ron, do you got a question? Ron,
Oh,
you there?
my apology. I'm there. Yeah, I do have a question because I was gonna ask him how do you feel about now with the music industry changing, and what impact can a new generation learn from his old generation?
I think that what the new generation can learn, a lot. The new generation got an advantage.
Yeah.
Because we have the advent of the internet gives you more control over your music. Where you want to stream, you can stream it wherever you want to. You don't have to just stream it where the record label tells you. You don't have to sell it where the record label, the record label have certain stores they sell the artists to. Nah, it ain't like that. Now you can do anything. Anything you could think about, you can pretty much do it. So, if anything, to be honest with you, from a marketing standpoint or some business standpoint,
yeah,
the old school cats are actually learning watching the young folks.
Definitely.
Now, what I will say is the quality of the music is my chief complaint. It's not there.
No.
Yeah, it's not. No.
And I mean, I get it. Listen, I know, like, cats from the 70s that was rhyming in the 70s, when they heard cats from the 90s, they were like, oh, these dudes corny, they saying blah, blah, blah. But we're saying the exact same thing about these folks now. I guess my thing is, I'm a lyrical guy. So if I'm hearing stuff that's blim, 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 I ain't. You're not advancing. I'm thinking it's going to be better than, like, when I heard Rakim, he's better than Melly Mel to me.
Oh yeah, by far.
Like, lyrically, but when I used to hear Melly Mel, he's dope, and stuff he would say, like the stuff in the message and all of that. But then when you hear Rakim flip words and have puzzles in his rhyme, it's like, oh, he took what Melly Mel did and advanced it. And let me rephrase. It's not that he's better. He just took and spun Melly Mel's thing and made it better. So society took what he heard and spun it and made it better.
Definitely.
It's so many MCs down there that spun things and made it better. Now I could put, for example, Mother Superior. I could take Rock Bottom of the Map and match it up with one of these songs that's out now. The songs that I'm hearing now don't have a chance against that.
No. There's really no talent here. There's really in this time of day, and that means that's no disrespect. And even for the type of music that a lot of Miami guys are making, is trash. And I didn't mean no disrespect on that. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You just speak your piece. There's nothing wrong with that.
You know,
I would just say that the standard has changed, and it's changed. Here's why the standard has changed. It's changed because the people that are up top, that are controlling the budgets, are talking these artists into putting out that stuff, rather than the artist saying, you know what, I want to have artistic integrity, and I'm going to speak to my people, which is what we don't have now. Instead, now we've got NWA on steroids. We've got 2 Live Crew on steroids. Like for example, I was just talking to Richie Wonder about this yesterday. We have the song "Whack" that's out now.
Oh my God.
That song makes anything 2 Live Crew did like a PG record.
It does.
That's like, whoa. And I've seen some stuff when I was on tour. It ain't messing with what they doing now.
No, that's beyond that.
Yeah, this is on some whole other level. Like, whoa. Like, yo, what is going on?
No, for real. She even made a reference. She said, "I don't clean, I don't cook, but I still got a ring." I'm talking about like, and
Yeah,
then
Yeah, you seen that?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
crazy. This is
I
the new
actually watched.
generation.
Yeah, I actually watched about a minute into that video today. I said, okay, I'm gonna watch it. Me give it a chance. I watched about a minute of that video yesterday and was like, what am I looking at right now? No, it was actually not yesterday. It was today. It was this morning. And I was like, yo, what am I looking at right now? Wow, I had to turn it off because I didn't want to get. I didn't because there was. It was more than the uh the lyrics. It was the symmetry, the Masonic references that are in the video.
yeah,
Stuff that's in the video that are like way wicked that your average person that does not understand signs, they're just looking at it from, oh yeah, she got a big butt and her this is out and that's out and blah blah blah. Her breast, her tongue's this long, and they thinking about that. They're not thinking about that demonic symmetry that's in the video.
one
That's
hundred
in.
percent. I agree with you 100%. Let me tell you something. I felt like it was a propaganda piece that the label put out for
Yes.
for people to get hypnotized, to start turning people against what we truly are. There's a funny thing that went around on Twitter. They had an acronym. They say "Women Against Patriarchy." Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a new thing now. Uh huh.
Yeah, that's really the other thing that's going on
You
is
know what I
that
mean?
our sisters are have been turned. I mean, this has been going on for a minute now. This ain't just happened yesterday.
No,
This has
you're
been going
right.
on where sisters are like, look, it's about me, woman power, and I don't need no man, and blah blah. And we know where that started at.
Yeah,
We know that we know who started it.
basically, because
Correct.
So
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? If anybody knows anything about the William Lynch letter, then you'll understand what I'm saying.
definitely,
So
go ahead.
go ahead. No,
I was
go
gonna
ahead. Go
make a
ahead. Go ahead.
reference that I don't think a lot of people know this, but until 1960, black people were in marriages like around 80%.
Yes,
Correct. We was in the
absolutely,
all-time high.
absolutely,
Yeah, black family was a
absolutely.
all-time high.
And
Correct.
you know,
80%.
and you know the
80%.
other,
Yeah.
you know the other man is not happy with that. They're like, nah, we're gonna find a way to break that up. And that's around that same time, from the 60 on to about 70. That's
Yeah.
when they started bringing in the unemployment, the welfare, and
Yeah,
all
the
that stuff.
welfare. Exactly.
And
Correct.
if your husband's in the house, you or the boyfriend's in that, whatever that is, they can't be
You
there.
can't get. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, they started in the 60s.
Now,
Facts.
now,
That's facts.
there's very facts the mundo. Now, here's my
Mm-hmm.
question. When did you call it quits? When you let? Because I have to ask these questions because
Okay.
it dawns on me when you guys been here decades of your life. I'm talking
Yeah.
about decades of your life. Y'all probably, you know what I mean? And then like when it was like it was over for you. Like I'm done with this. I'm done with music, and I kept it moving.
Well, I'm not really done with music. I'm choosing what I do,
Hmm.
but excuse me. But from chasing that dream, oh, I became done with that in 2011.
Oh wow.
And the reason why got done with it, primarily on that level anyway, was I found out who I was through bloodline. Once I
Mm.
found that I understood that I am from the tribe of Judah, I had to walk away. I had to look at the Bible different. I had to look at the Quran different. I had to look at everything that I was taught totally different. So I broke down and for a year and a half went into study. And study's still going on, but I had to kind of catch up to what information was true versus what I was taught was false. Basically, I had to get the Christianity off.
Mm.
Facts. Facts.
So
Woo.
yeah,
We should bring him
that's
on the
it.
show again for the
Hey.
religion part. Hakeem.
And look, and wait, before you saying that,
Yeah.
this ain't even religion.
Mm.
It's not. It's a way of
Religion,
life.
yeah, religion is Judaism or Islam
Yeah.
or Catholic Church or Christianity. Those or Buddhism. Those are religions. This is a nation of people
Yes.
who
Facts.
had their heritage stolen from them.
Wow.
And
We.
that's the key. That's what made me like, hold up. let me change my thought process here. And if this is who I am, I need to walk in that. I can't walk as a pagan. That doesn't work. And to go even further, what really solidified it for me was when me and my mom left and came to Egypt, or went to Egypt, because I went to Egypt first before I came here to Israel. And I went to them temples, not the pyramids.
Yeah, you okay.
And listen, let me tell you both something. And anybody that's listening to me, it's one thing to read it in the book. It's something else to walk inside them pyramids and see black people enslaving black people. It's something else to see that the actual Egyptians were actually black, and the people that were enslaving were the Israelites were also black. That every image inside the pyramids was all black. All of them. To see it up close.
Whew.
That was like...
That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. And it makes...
my question is, why are they not saying that? Because when I talk to a lot of black nationalism, they always talk about there was no black slaves in Egypt, ancient Egypt. So that was false.
Okay, yeah, they're reading books, but they're not actually coming over here. Which is one of the main problems that I have with so-called black nationalists, is that if you're going to walk around with the Ankh, for example, like I won't walk around with that because I know I'm not Egyptian by bloodline, right? So if I'm walking around with the Ankh, then that's telling you that I'm Egyptian. Well, if I'm Egyptian, then why am I not doing the rituals that the ancient Egyptians did? Why am I not visiting, if not living in Egypt?
Facts.
Why am I not speaking the ancient hieroglyph?
Facts.
Why am I dressing like an American if I got this ankh on? If I got this ankh on, I should be dressing like an Egyptian, like the ancient ones did. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. There's a difference between religion and bloodline nationality. And that's the problem with so many of our people, even folks that are Israelites that think they're Egyptian. Like, no, you're not Egyptian. Now, I get it. There were black people there well before Christopher Columbus. Absolutely. They were there. Listen, black people dominated this were the original people.
Yeah.
Or are the original people. They've been all over this earth. And that the people that we know in the Bible as Hamites, they went to America as well. This is why you find a lot of their designs that were in Egypt. You find them in Mexico, in Texas, in New Mexico, all South America. They were all there.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just stuff that for me, going to the places and finding it out, seeing it up close, and then having the Bible or even the Quran, because I read from the Quran too, and I even read from a lot of the missing books. I read from all those books, and that's all Hebrew history. Matter of fact, for those that really read the Quran like that, if you really read the Quran like that, it clearly tell you that the Israelites were the chosen people.
No, it states that. It states that.
So since that's the case, then you need to go back to the Bible. Like, okay, well, if that's saying that, then this is saying, and this book is before that book, and these other ancient books like the Dead Sea Scrolls or Enoch are before those books. Then
you talking some stuff there.
You see what I'm saying?
But I was gonna ask him too, because there's different type of Hebrew Israelites, because there's one that don't believe in the New Testament. There's only one that believe only in the Old Testament.
Those are there's non-messianic and messianic. Yeah. Now, me personally, I deal with both. I deal with the Old and the New, because it doesn't make sense that the Old Testament, that's the end of it. That doesn't make any sense. That means our history stopped at Maccabees. Right. Correct. So now we have no other history after that. That makes no sense. So now, and for the non-messianics, my problem with them is, okay, well, if you're not going to deal with the New Testament and you're saying that Christ, for example, you're going to say that he said that you don't have to keep the feast, which he never said that, right? nor did he ever say that you were supposed to worship him. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. Go ahead. You going in? He never
They
said
always
that.
say,
Exactly. Facts.
They always say,
Facts.
oh yeah, you're not supposed to be worshiping Christ. Christ never said that. Christ said to worship the Father.
Yep.
Facts. Free.
That's
Yeah,
straight up and down.
Yep.
That's straight up.
But here's the kicker. If you're non-messianic, but you're living in America, and the law's not done away with, then why is all these people that are non-messianic, why are they not coming to Israel 3 times a year? Because the law's not done away with, right?
Yeah.
In the law, it states that we're supposed to come to the land 3 times a year for the feasts. Non-messianic, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
There's no getting around. There's no scripture that says you ain't supposed to come back, because every time, like when Ezra came back from captivity, they made a covenant that they were going to keep the feast. When Jeremiah came back, when every time we went into a different captivity and we were brought back to the land, we kept the feast. And matter of fact, and even in the New Testament, in Acts 2, in Acts 2nd chapter, what did they do? What feast were they keeping? They were keeping Feast of First Fruits.
Yeah.
Where?
Correct.
Here in Israel.
And, yeah, Pentecost. Correct.
So this after Christ dead now.
Mm-hmm.
Christ gone. So why ain't you, they were keeping the feast? Well, after that, that's recorded.
Let me ask you a
Because
question.
according to let me elaborate on that. Because according to the Apostle Paul, he said the law was done away with. So that's why a lot of people are confused on which law to keep, because he said the law is done away with because I have now received the blood of Christ. So that's why a lot of these messianic saying, no, we're not keeping the law anymore because I already accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
But that's the thing. He never said it. He didn't say it in the way that folks are understanding it. He said the law was not for people that knew the law. So basically, if I know the law, then the law doesn't apply to me because I know the law. Whereas if you're not a law keeper, then all the law is going to apply to you because you don't know the law. You need to go back in there and read that law. You need to go back and read. Remember, Paul also said that all things are of old time were for our learning. Well, that's the law is part of that, right? And
100%.
And in Revelation, it clearly tells you, Revelation 21, I think, either 21 or 22, it says, "Blessed those that keep the commandments. All of those that don't are dogs." So I'm saying, why isn't Revelation saying that, but someone's saying that Paul said that the law is done away with? No, folks don't understand Paul's writings and won't admit it.
That's 100% true. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think that more people don't travel to the motherland, and how did you travel and affected your whole outbringing of this?
Okay, well, the reason why a lot of folks won't travel here is because they're told that we're waiting for the Most High to bring them back here.
Mm-hmm.
From, that's a doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
That I really don't want to get into it on here. I'd rather talk to you guys off of this. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah, because that's a whole doctrine right there, and woo.
I could tell you. We really got to build on that because I'm really interested in about that because even to the point where here us being Black American here in America, we hear a whole assortment of number of things about Israel and Palestine and how it's how Israel's racist to Black people, how they're treating Ethiopians, and you know what I'm saying. You're there on the front line because you know what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean. My parents and everybody, we're a spiritual person, and just the way you think, my mother said the same thing. We gotta go to Israel and eat and pray. You feel me?
Okay, so check it out. So let me answer 2 questions. The first one was you asked how I got here.
Yeah.
Well, the Most High put that spirit on me, like it's time for you to go. Mm-hmm. This was 2013. Okay, so that spirit was actually 2012. He put the spirit on me, like it's time for you to go. So I had to convince my mom, like, look, if you're really about this walk, you're gonna have to go. Now I'm ready to go. She's like, you ain't leaving without me. Heck no. So we sold the house, sold stuff, and we bounced. We went to Egypt first. Then when we got to Egypt, we were there 2 years, well, a year and a half, and then we found out we weren't supposed to be in Egypt like that. And we couldn't really settle there. So we made the move to go to Jordan. We sat in Jordan 2 years, traveling. Which in Egypt I did the same thing. I traveled. I went to Aswan. I went to Karnak. Went to Luxor. Did the Nile cruise. Went just about every. The only place I didn't go to in Egypt was Alexandria.
Basically, you did your pillage.
Yes, absolutely. This is why I'm confident when I speak, because I've seen these things up close and can compare them to the Bible.
I can hear.
You know what I'm saying? So we left from Egypt and went to Jordan. Stayed in Jordan 2 years. I did that. Going from land of Moab, land of Ammon, land of Edom. Went down to Aqaba. Went down to the Red Sea. Saw all that stuff. The King's Highway, all that stuff. Then Most High was like, okay, you've done this. Now I need you to go home. And I had already been coming over here, seeing what was going on and all of that. So me and my mom, we moved. We've been here for years. And I've been traveling here too, seeing stuff. Although this corona mess then kind of slowed me down to some degree. Because now you can't travel, you can't really travel the same way as before. So that's what got me out here. Plus I took the vow of the Nazarite, or what's called an Essene. So that is another thing that made me change up dealing with a lot of different things.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I took that like forever. That's not something like normally you could some folks would take that for like 30 days, 60 days, whatever time they want to make up with the Most High. I chose to do lifelong. You know what I'm saying? Now the other thing you asked me was about the racism over here.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's more racist over there than it is here. That is factual. It's much more racist over there. Over here now, is there some folks that give you funny looks? Yeah, of course. But it's not like it is over there. It's just not. You know what I'm saying? But bottom line is, the Most High will protect you while you're here, just like He protect you over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the protection is stronger, obviously, in the motherland.
Yeah.
You feel me? And something else I want to bring up real quick. The Palestinians that are here, you do know they're black Palestinians here.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So I don't need to have that. So I don't need.
We don't need it. We know that. Yeah. We know, but I'm gonna be honest with you. For a long time, I was unaware until somebody has showed me a YouTube video. You know, you hear people talk about this stuff, but it's not nothing. When my dad did a documentary and I seen there was a couple guys on there who was talking. He said, "Hey, my parents I've been here 6, 7 generations," and which is daunting. Like it makes you think it's you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It is daunting. I mean, listen, when I got over here, just going to Egypt and seeing all that stuff, and then seeing all that stuff in Jordan, seeing Sodom and Gomorrah up close here in Israel, up close, seeing the real Mount Zion up close, not that one that they promote up there in Jerusalem, that fake Jerusalem, not that one, the real one in Iraq.
Yeah.
Seeing that up close, that, man, look, it's just another level of like, whoa, for real. It's a whole nother level. Like, yo, these folks stole our nationality. They stole our heritage. They stole it. They just snatched it from us and then gave us something else. They gave us a trash religion rather than our nationality. A trash religion that allows you to eat whatever you want to eat, knowing that God didn't tell you to eat that the first place, now folks is sick.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
High blood
So
pressure, sick.
everything,
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
when I understood that, when I really understood that, I was angry for a long time. I was angry for a long time. Like, yo, they stole stuff from us. Not just some old Israel black. Because to be truthful, everything out here was black.
Correct.
Everything, everybody, the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Edomites, the Egyptians, all of them, the Palestinians, all of them are black. All of them. This is all Northeast Africa right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Which people call it the Middle East.
Please, there's no what Middle East. Where's the Middle West? The middle, like the brother said. Where's the
That
Middle
was
North?
it. Yeah,
The
Yeah.
Middle
there ain't
South.
no
Where's
Middle
that?
East.
Where none of that?
And
How you
another
get Middle
thing
East?
too. And another
And they
thing
call
too.
and they call this Asia too. And I'm like, how is this Asia? When
For real.
if you read the Bible, it tells you that Paul went to Asia Minor. Asia
Basically.
Minor, no Asia Minor in Israel. Where's that at?
And I took in biology before and chemistry, and something that really dawns that I think a lot of people, just from a common sense point of view, if a place like that is so hot, how can people with fair skin complexion can survive there?
That's what they were saying.
Yeah,
Everybody was black.
exactly.
So
what did Malcolm X say? What did Malcolm X say in the movie?
yeah.
We got melanin skin. Our skin can adapt to that type of weather.
Yeah.
What did he tell the preacher in the jail in the movie? What did he say?
I don't remember it verbatimly.
Basically, he said the people in that it says historically the people in that region were all melanated. They were black.
Yeah, melanin.
And the guy said, what color was Jesus? Jesus was a Hebrew. Now that's not his name, but I'm just saying that for reference.
Yeah.
He said, well, what color was Jesus? He was a Hebrew. Well, he called him he called him everything but black. He said no, he was black. And I was like, no, he was this color.
It's kind of
like everybody else. And mind you, Israel has the highest rate of skin cancer on the earth.
I know that.
Yeah.
I've read about that, and that's why I say those like.
If these people were really the people that were supposed to be here, they wouldn't have skin cancer.
No, basically.
Because their body can't contain that type of heat, but our body can.
Listen.
Yeah, our body can. This is why we were able to build. This is why they were able to have us build the Egyptians. They knew that they wouldn't have no people doing that slavery because the white people would pass out there. They would have died out there. Skin cancer. That's we were able to build the pyramids out there in Egypt. Why the white people had us come over from Africa, go over to America, and build that stuff out there for long hours of the day because they knew we weren't going to get affected by skin cancer. Whereas them, yes, they were going to get affected.
Even after 60 years, I think they've been there 60 years, if I'm not mistaken. 70 years.
72 years.
72 years.
Yeah.
And still to this day, they haven't been able to get a handle on things.
No, not at all. No.
You know what I'm trying to say? And this from common sense, from me just looking from the outside, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see, like, hey, something's not right over there. I say, you know what I mean? A bunch of people getting sick, getting cancer, because I read about a lot of people in Israel who getting cancer. I'm like, people can't survive there.
Right, but the people at the moment don't get that.
No, yeah.
I've been down there plenty of times. I got people down there. They're not getting that. I got a question for y'all. Check this out. And I know I'm probably we're supposed to only do this for 50 minutes. I ran out of thing, right? But check this out. Let me ask you a question. What was created first? The sun or the earth?
The sun.
The sun.
Sure about that?
Oh.
Yeah, because the sun without the sun, everything dies.
No,
everything depends on the sun.
You're wrong. Okay. Go back. Let's go back to Genesis in the Bible. What did God create first? Because I see where you're getting at.
God created the earth. We know that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But when was the sun created?
The sun was created after.
After yeah.
But you just told me that the sun was created first.
Yeah.
Yes, because the problem is because
Mm-hmm.
everything depends on the sun. You know what I'm saying? Like the
But
birds, us, everybody depends on the sun. So they say the sun was already created first, but the sun didn't have no brightness.
No,
That's
it's
what
that.
God spoken.
No. It says in the Bible, it says the sun was created on the fourth day.
On the fourth day.
And in
Correct.
the Quran, in the Quran, it says the exact same thing. So if that, so hold on, let me finish now. So
yeah, go ahead.
That's the case, right? And mind you, the sun is for the service of man.
Yeah.
Not the other way around. They got us to worship the sun. The thing is, where were you taught that the sun was created first? Where were you taught this?
In science.
In science.
Oh, ain't that funny? And what was those people that taught you that?
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah.
European.
Oh, there's my point. That's my point.
Yeah, you got a point.
You
got a point. But it's crazy you said that. Now that it comes back to me, but you know what's so conflicting about that too? When they also state that the Earth was like a big ball of ice at one point in time.
But it never was that. But that's a whole other conversation. I ain't gonna go into that right now.
Yeah.
That's a whole other conversation. It was not a ball of ice. It's not even a ball.
Yeah.
No, but I love it because you're giving us a lot of information.
No, I appreciate it.
Listen in, they're gonna be thinking.
They're gonna be thinking, brother.
He did get a lot of, and I heard that about recently. I just started doing research because in Egypt, a lot of black people were looking at the sun for like nutrients, a lot of vitamin C, vitamin D, a lot of stuff benefit from us by looking at the sun. However, they made the sun a bad thing, but telling us to wear shade. But go ahead.
Right, and even the moon was actually good for us.
Yeah,
right.
The moon as well.
Right. So it says the Bible says that those three lights, the sun, the moon, and the stars, were given to us for signs, seasons, dates, years. So if the Bible actually says this, which corroborates what the Quran said,
100%,
corroborates what the Dead Sea Scrolls said, which corroborates what Enoch says, then why are we taught that the sun was not only created first, but the earth rotates around it? When you can go outside and stand outside and watch the sun come from the east to the west. So you can watch the sun rise from the east, go over you, set in the west, then how is the earth now spinning around the moving sun?
That does make a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, nobody has to believe me. Just step outside early in the morning and watch the sun rise. And you tell me where's the earth moving to if the sun is rising over you from the east.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? But we were taught by some folks something else, which you can't prove because which what I'm saying you can prove. You can step right outside and prove what that is. That you can see the sun rise from the east, set in the west. In the Quran, it says the same thing. In the Bible, it says the same thing. All these different books that, mind you, were written in the East say the same thing. The problem is we're being taught by Westerners and even people from Europe. We're learning their education instead of learning the one that God gave us in the first place. By taking us out of the Bible. Uh-oh.
Woo! No, you saying a lot of stuff that got us like, you got me like thinking right now.
No, you see, and that's the only reason why we quiet. You drop some gems here. You know what I mean? And aside from all the music stuff, but this is what really important for me. You know what I mean? For a lot of people, and this is what, I'm happy you was able to have this conversation.
Thank you, man.
No doubt. There's so much. It's just opening up the books and really observing the sky.
No, you're 100% right, man. And brother, we definitely need to really build on that because me and Ron here, we're students of knowledge, and you know what I mean. And we're spiritual people as well, and
absolutely.
And we take things like this seriously for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, as the first thing as far as that spirituality, get religion out of there. That's garbage.
You're right. Me and him talk about this too.
You find out if you're an Israelite, you know what tribe you're from. then you operate under that premise. This is the tribe you're from, so you need to operate like that is your great, 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 great something grandfather, some generations down the line. That's it, and you operate under that custom, not religion. You operate under that custom. Period. No, oh, we going to church on Sunday and we going to pass some tithes and all. No. Whatever tribe you from, you operate under that bloodline. Yeah. Because it's a bloodline of people, not a religion that the Catholic Church, mind you, made up all of them. Mm-hmm. They made up all of them.
Yeah, and not only that, but it also taught us to hate ourselves. Because I realized, like talking to different people, not only that, but listening to different videos, you see people, they say, was Jesus black? People are afraid to say black. And I'm like, no, you're supposed to be able to say, no, he was black. Or you ask the white man, no offense, I don't mean to say that, but you ask a European, is Jesus white? They're going to tell you, yeah, he was white.
Right, yeah, they're going to tell you that. Because
so they're going to say it with passion, like because they believe in their kind. We didn't start believing in our kind. And
not only that, they got us to, they believe in it for themselves, but they want us to believe it too. So much so that they beat it into us. Look at it from that perspective. We didn't beat white people into believing that Christ, or in the Hebrew, is called Yeshua. We didn't beat nobody into them, beat that belief into them that he's black or melanated. Yeah. No. They beat into us that everything was white. Everything that was dope, for lack of a better word, was white. And everything that was black was whack.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to. So, you know, for me to give you something, take religion out of your vocabulary. Let's talk about bloodline. What tribe do you come from? Originally, what tribe do you come from? For example, if you're from the seed of Ham, for example, and you're saying you're Ethiopian, okay, well, or from Cush, okay, well, find out Cush's customs and walk in those. And let me see you walk in your forefathers' customs. Don't walk as a pagan, but tell me you from Cush and you walking around with the beads and stuff on your neck.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I've been trying to research more about the Levites. Because, you know, that's what the brother said that we're from. Like, we're from the tribe of Levi. Because, you know,
we're Haitian. Yeah.
We're Haitian. Our parents are from Haiti. So huh?
Y'all doing the chart. Y'all doing that based on the chart.
On the chart, yeah. Based on the chart, yeah.
Go ahead.
So you know what I mean? We try to live more on that sense. But it does make sense when they say we from the tribe of that, because I know they say Levites were more of like priests and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean there's some Levites. There's a ton of Levites out here, to be honest with you. A whole bunch of them out here in Africa. Well, in continental Africa. Oh yeah, it ain't just Haiti. There's a whole lot of them out here. Yes, sir. And then some of them are righteous and some of them are wicked. No different than they are over there. Yeah, they doing spells and all that stuff too.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yes. But yeah, they're all over the place. All the tribes, generally speaking, are pretty much all over. But they're centralized in certain places. Okay. I'll say that. So, like, there are some Levites in America, but obviously the majority of America will be the tribe of Judah and even Benjamin.
Yeah.
They central. Oh, the Jamaicans are only Benjamin. No, that's not true either, because a lot of Benjamin is in England. Mm-hmm. Remember, Paul was from what tribe?
Was I don't even have the chart up in front of me right now.
No, I wouldn't want you to deal with the chart. I wouldn't want you to tell me what's from Scripture. But he's from Benjamin. And in Acts, the book of Acts, chapter 20, it don't have 29 in the Bible. But there's a book of Acts, chapter 29. It tells you he went to England.
Okay.
Right? So he had Benjamites up there that he was going to talk to. So the Benjamites have always been in England. Just like they've been in Jamaica for perpetuity. For a long time. They all through them Caribbean islands. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it's
No, it's deep. It's deep.
it's deep. I'm not even scratching the surface. But
Yeah,
because I know this is supposed to be about yes indeed. There's so much
no, no, no,
information I can
no.
keep
To be
going.
honest with you,
No, no, no. This is
no.
beautiful. This
It's
is beautiful.
about
I
you.
love it.
It's not
Yeah.
about yes indeed. I want to get that correct. That's just a record. It's
Okay.
about you, because you know
Yeah.
me. You made the record. I said, hey, when I spoke to him, I said, man, I got to talk to the producer. Because let me tell you something. You rapped on it, but there's nothing like it, everything is meshed. So you telling us this is just as a part of your story, and that's what I want people to hear. That's what's important to me to hear that.
Right, no doubt.
Yeah.
And there's that, and so with all that being said, my journey on this started in 2011, and this is the most high been just to leave me and my mom.
That's so beautiful, man, to hear
You know
that.
what I'm saying? And it was time to come home, and I'm here, and it's a blessing for me to do the feast here. It's a blessing for me to serve Him. It's a blessing to know that I have someone that died for me. Because listen, I've been through some stuff,
I can only
and,
imagine.
and, and you know what I'm saying. Being in that music industry, you see Ed do some stuff, and you look back at my age. You look back on it, you're like, oh man, look, I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I was trash.
Do you
I was trash.
do you still keep in contact with anybody from back then?
Yeah, okay, yeah. As a matter of fact, me and some of the brothers from those funky bastards have reconnected, and I've been talking to Mother Superior, excuse me, which she's another person I think y'all should reach out to.
Mm.
His momsy, because Rock Bottom of the Map, that record, man, everybody wanted to hear that record when that record came out.
No, definitely. I would love to talk to her. You know, I reached out to Drugsy and I reached out to Deb. They never got back to me. Cause you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I can link you up with Momsy's information.
Yeah. You know
And
what I mean?
and I don't know, I don't know if you're familiar with those funky bastards,
No, I
but
heard about that. No, I definitely heard about them.
okay, yeah, you should definitely link up with them because they have some history themselves. Who they perform with. I mean, all of us come from, and mind you, because I know societies they quote unquote the hip hop record that really popped off, besides Pick It Up.
Yeah.
But there were groups down there that really were putting it down, around the same time that we were. And
And
even like I said, even from 1990 when I got there were some groups. Asia Tribe being one of them, turned into those funky bastards. There was a DJ named DJ Chris. They call him Classic now. DJ Coupe de Ville. These guys were nasty on the turntable. Lord Mecca, who
I'm
I'm pretty sure Side bigged up.
yep.
Lord Mecca been putting it down for a minute. And back then he was called Grimo. back in
I know. Yeah,
Grimo.
I know. I heard of him.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something that you probably can answer, and then we're
Yeah.
gonna wrap this up.
Okay.
What was Luke's fascination with up north artists? And the reason why I say compared to his whole roster of artists, literally there was what maybe like 7 or 8 acts that was from up north.
Mm.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Well, depending on that's what years are you talking about? Are we
We're
talking about?
talking about because he had some other guys from Philadelphia that was on his record label. You know what I'm talking about? The Buffalo Soldiers.
Yeah, but I never met them. But yeah, I heard of them. I never met them though.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Then it was y'all. Then it was home team. You know what I mean. And I was even you see, and this is a question that I have to ask Griff.
He even had Father MC on the label for a little while.
Yeah, I remember that too. You know what I mean. And
Mm-hmm.
this is what you know what I mean. Society vaguely went in this for me, and you probably would say because he told me how he got down here, and that was through Griff. I didn't even know Griff was even signed to Loop. And
Yeah.
and I don't even think people in Miami know that whole Public Enemy connection.
Yeah. And it's funny because at the time I was living in Delaware when um when I got the Griff record. I'm like, he's with Luke? Hold
Yeah,
on, let me play this. I'm like, this dude's supposed to be the minister. I'm thinking he gonna. I'm like, he's gonna be doing booty music now. I put that record on, like, oh wait a minute, hold up. He's doing public enemy music. Hold on, I'm listening to the whole thing. Like, all right, I'm not mad at this. And I'm thinking, okay, well, Luke's trying to transition a little bit, not all the way, but kind of putting his hand in that hip hop jar, so to speak, but with the up north vibe. And then he was already kind of dealing with it with Poison Clan. Poison Clan was to some degree already there.
Yeah.
They were doing bass, but you could still hear the influence because Debs was there.
Yep, for the most part. Why you fronting on my man Debs?
You know what I'm saying? So hey, that's what that was. And then, but after that, who was it? The Father MC was after side.
You got Father MC, you got MC Sade that was on that record.
Yeah.
Yo, it's a lot of up north cats that was on that Luke Records that was on under that branch that we would have to sit here and unpack. And this was, I would say, Luke being a person from down south, he did something that I think that I haven't seen a lot of people did here, even to the record labels here.
Jiggy from New York.
Yeah. Jiggy. Yeah, she's from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? And this is why I was like, what was his fascination with it? Because you know what I mean, it dawned it on me on that.
Because now I can't speak for him, but I think he had a love for a lot of New York hip hop. Think about it. I remember going to Pac Jam and they were playing a lot of New York hip hop in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, there's playing a lot of Miami artists too, Southern artists, Texas, Atlanta, but they were playing New York too. And it's just an opportunity to have a little bit of everything on his label. Listen, this dude went and got H-Town. H-Town's from Texas.
Yeah, this is why I say he was ahead of his time.
Yeah. He was an indie label going after artists from different states.
Yeah.
He could have just stuck with the artists in Florida. Because there was plenty of so-called boom bap hip hop talent in Florida. But he kind of went outside. He had people kind of working for him. And when he saw what they were doing, like, okay, look. Because when he came, matter of fact, when he came to me for the 2 Live album, Fresh Kid Ice found out about me. He came to Sonny's house.
Yeah, God bless the dead.
You know what I'm saying? And asked me and said, yo, I'm hearing about you. I heard you got beats. Yeah, I got some beats. Can you put some beats on the tape for me? Sure. I put like 9 beats, I think it was, on the tape. And he took me down to the office. And then he called me and said, hey, look, like 6 of them. Okay, I'm coming to pick you up now. And you're gonna come down here and you're gonna negotiate what you need. Okay, so Kid came to the house, picked me up, took me down to the office. I go up into the upstairs and meet Luke and Weinberger. And Luke's like, yo, man, I'm filling these beats. How much you need? Okay, I need 6,000. Joe, cut that check. He pulled out the checkbook right there, cut the check, gave it to me. I'll see you in the studio in about 45 minutes. What? I hopped down to the bank. Cashed that check, went to the house, got the drum machine, and through a drum machine, so I did beats on both of them, and ran to the studio. And there's where the boom bap end of that 2 Live Crew album came from, was for me. Although I did do the You Go Girl song.
Okay.
So that was the one bass record I did like.
It's beautiful here, and also, and it's crazy. But do you ever see yourself doing anything for any major people anymore?
If the financing is right, yeah.
Okay, so
financing is right, yeah. Oh. Or if it's if it's the right artist, right situation.
Mm-hmm.
But more so, it's gonna be the right artist, right situation.
Right situation.
Now, right now I pretty much have control over what I want to do. I don't have to script and scrump for, like hustle like that. I don't have to do that.
That's beautiful.
I kind of pick and choose.
Is there any advice would you want to give to any up and coming artists and producers in the game?
Be original, please.
Yes.
Be original. Do you? Don't do somebody else's stuff and then say you don't. Now, the original. Please, I'm begging you. Can we hear some original stuff? Can we not hear the same drum sounds on records? Can we not hear the same flow? Can we not hear the 808 tune the same way that the
Preach.
next one made a beat? Can we please stop hearing the hand claps?
Oh my God.
Can we stop hearing that, please?
Man,
He going in. I can't. He
he
going
is
in.
going to, you know, it's so crazy. Slice, I could talk to you all day. I still got more questions to ask you, but I know you, but like, it's just crazy, man.
Yeah, no, I don't ran out your time, man. I don't.
Yeah, no, but I appreciate it because you impact so much information and I
See,
hope a lot of people didn't know, huh?
yeah, we could do a part two, or
Yes,
we
I
could.
was gonna say yes.
No, we
Yes,
need to
I
do a part
was
two
on
because
that.
I
We
have
need to do
other
a part
questions I
two.
have to ask you, especially even with Verb, because I'm even curious about his situation, why he never blew it up.
I could talk to you about that. We could do a part two on that. And but at least in my opinion. Now, having said that, I can reach out to Verb, see if I can get him. If I can get him, then I can link you two up, and y'all
Please,
can the three of you up, and y'all can
Yeah.
and he'll answer any question you want to ask.
please, I want to talk to him because it didn't make so sense how Trick trajectory and I've always thought that I hope Trick that don't get mad, but Verb was the better lyricist.
Yeah, he was. Absolutely.
I'm talking
Absolutely.
about
Look, he
being.
agreed with you. Agree.
Absolutely, hands down, the better lyricist.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I get killed when I tell people that on the Scar record. I say, hey, that boy killed the record. He
Yeah,
killed it. And
what they heard from Trick is Trick had a style that nobody was
he
doing.
swagged it out. That's really. It wasn't
Right.
really
That's
about
what it
lyrics.
was. Lyrics.
That's all
But
Trick ever did. He swag out the
dragged
record.
it out. But Verb, woo, Verb, he could have been, in my opinion, and this heck, I put Verb in my top 10. If I had to go with unsigned artists, well, not he was a signed artist, but I mean like local artists, Verb was in my top 10, near top 5.
Yeah. Mine's too.
You
Him.
know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Mine's too.
There's probably a couple that you guys may not know about with Verb easily. I mean, he was somebody that I could listen to him like, this kid has style and lyrics. And he don't look like he would rhyme that way, but when he starts spitting, like, yo, matter of fact, I got a song with him that I will send to you that we did called The Exodus.
Wow.
We recorded that. He was in Miami, I'm here, I was in Egypt. He recorded the vocals and he sent me the vocals. And then I put the beat around them.
Yeah. We definitely need to do a part two, and I definitely need to talk to him because, you know what I mean, and you know what I mean, his story is way more important because I would love to hear that because nobody, you know what I mean, and this is the reason why I say this. A lot of people don't. A lot of people forget who made the other major people, and I don't mean no disrespect to them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and this is why I
Mm-hmm.
didn't choose. This is why I didn't choose to go speak to Luke or Trick or Trina and stuff like that because people already know who they is. I want to know who the people who helped them get to where they got to go, and be able to give y'all flowers because nobody, you know what I mean, and because there's a history that's gonna be gone forever. You know what I mean? Because people
Yes,
don't even
yes,
talk.
not important.
I don't even know you know this, but people don't even talk about Miami music no more.
Well, see, I'm out here, so I'm off the radar.
You off the radar,
Off
but
the radar.
for me and Ron, to be honest with you, I've been able to chronologically listen to y'all music since I've been here, and I've been in seeing the way music tradition, and to see how people don't even talk about these people no more.
Right.
They don't even get their flowers done. Rick Ross, Trick, all these people don't mention the Gucci crew, Young and the Restless. They don't even mention the people that was
Wow.
on. You know what I mean? The people that was even on Luke Records. It was a lot of them.
Lawan Love.
Lawan, he's another. Matter of fact, Ronnie, I don't know if you know this. Lawan Love is from our neighborhood. He graduated the same high school we went to.
Yeah, I have this
I
contact
ain't know that.
information too. Yeah, he's
Wow.
on what's that?
You see, he's from Attapata. He graduated from Jackson. You know what I mean? He's
Matter of
another.
fact, matter of fact, there was a group out there called the Stilo Bandits. You ever heard of them?
No, never heard of them either.
I just heard it on them too. They were pretty nice.
You see what I'm saying? So I just want to be able to have this information for kids who growing up when they start to discover y'all records. And thanks to the internet, a lot of y'all records are being found online now. Because people who,
Yes.
you know what I mean, you have a people digging in the crates type people
Yeah.
who have your tapes, they're digitizing them and they're uploading them up there now.
I've seen, like I said, I've seen quite a few rappers and arts. Quite a few Parquet Daughters and
You see, that's another one of my favorite rap kids on Society's album, Rappers and Art. He goes on up there. So that's my thing, Slice. I just wanted to be able to give you your flowers. I want people to hear your story.
Oh man, that's what's up. I appreciate it. All praises to the Most High. And
yes,
we hope that the music is that was not appreciated back then is appreciated now. But there's a lot of music that was out there that was not really appreciated like that, and did not get a chance to shine like certain other artists did get to shine. And I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying, you from Miami, you should be able to shine. Like everybody should get equal shine.
No, definitely. And let me tell you something. I'm gonna say this, and this is a prayer from the Most High. Hopefully, we can get some money up to buy back the masters from Joseph Weinberg. Let me tell you something.
I would love to. If I could get the Yes Indeed, the masters to Yes Indeed, one of the first things I would do is grab the acapellas. I would grab the acapellas and remix those songs.
I would love to hear that.
Original versions, and then I would do remixes to those songs. I got remixes for those tracks.
And let me tell you something. The Most High is always working. You never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Definitely, brother. And we're going to end it like that, man.
Right.
Ron, you got any?
I ain't got nothing else to say. We out, baby.
Man, I just appreciate y'all just listening. Stay tuned for the next episode.